let's get the action started. We have for you, first of all, 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. And when the bell rings, the referee in charge of the action will be Jerry Armstrong. Introducing to you first, fighting to my right out of the red corner, he's wearing blue trunks with white trim and weighed in at 258 pounds. Hailing from Coral Springs, Florida, he has a professional record of 16 wins, 15 losses, 2 draws, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Garing, the Freight Train Lane. And his opponent, fighting directly across from him out of the blue corner, he's wearing black trunks with white trim and weighed in at 224 pounds. Coming to us from Los Angeles, California, he is undefeated with 16 wins and 15 of them coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man from Bad Company, Relentless, Lamon Brewster. Once again, your referee in charge, Jerry Armstrong, to give the instructions.
Okay, you guys know the rules. I ask that you obey my commands at all times. When I say break, I want you to stop punching, hands up, and take 1 step back. Hey, guys. That's the tummy, right there. Okay? Okay. Touch glove.
No 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Only the referee may stop the bout. Intentional butt disqualification if the bout is stopped. Unintentional foul. They'll go to the scorecards if half of the rounds are completed. Those are the Idaho and the IBA rules for this evening. And there is the bell to begin round number 1. Lamon Brewster began boxing at the age of 7 at the Riverside Gym in Indianapolis. Has been fighting out of Los Angeles since 1994. He is in the black trunks. Garing Lane is in the purple. Lane 0-2-1 in his last 3 bouts. He's fought infrequently over that time. The 34-year-old from Hillcrest, Maryland, has not won a bout since September the 23rd of 1995, and he's been relatively inactive since. But Al, he has been in against some of the big names in the heavyweight division.
He has been in against literally everybody. He fought Larry Holmes. He fought Jeremy Williams. He fought Riddick Bowe. He has fought just about everybody around in the heavyweight division. And the interesting thing is, as you look at him, in almost all cases lost, he looks out of shape. But trust me, this is the best shape he's been in a long time. He's down to about 258. He's fought as high as 270 or 280. He comes in very focused tonight, and even though he's a huge underdog, he's a live underdog tonight.
He's only been knocked out 3 times. And he has the 3 first-round knockouts. He was knocked out by Jeremy Williams back in 1993. Knocked out by Riddick Bowe. Also has losses to Ronaldo Snipes, Trevor Berbick, Ray Mercer. His 1 win against a notable opponent back in 1993 against Alex Garcia, 2nd-round TKO.
That was his big win, and we had the Mercer fight here on ESPN back in '89. He acquitted himself very well in that bout. He is capable of giving a guy a tough match. We'll see if he does that here tonight. And Lamon Brewster, a youngster who was a very good amateur, did not make it to the 1996 Olympics, but has plenty of skills.
Bout scheduled for 10 rounds. Brewster ripping off the left hand that just missed. He has put together an impressive team with Willie Galt handling the managing. As you mentioned, Bill Slayton out of the Broadway Gym in California as his trainer. He has Dino Grillo, a nutritionist who is a Mr. Universe, and Charles Glass does his conditioning.
Strong group. And I'll tell you what, Bill Slayton, a nice body work by Brewster, and he's a very good body punch. Look at the double left hook. He has one of the best double left hooks of all the young fighters in boxing. He can bring it.
Good left hand by Brewster. Lane, the veteran, holding on.
I love boxers with double left hooks, I mean, especially heavyweights. You can go all the way back to the great Joe Frazier, who had that terrific double left hook. We're going to see a guy next week, Orland Norris, who has a great double left hook, too.
Well, a very good round 1 for 24-year-old Lamon Brewster. 16-0 with 15 knockouts. Back to Boise after this time out on the deuce.
Dig the left hook to the body and come right to the head with it. That is good. And he does it again. Good boxing by Lamon Brewster.
Round number 2 underway in Boise, Idaho. Bob Papa along with Al Bernstein.
Hang on.
Now Lane leaning on Brewster a bit, staying in tight.
You know, I believe that any athlete or any team that knows what their strengths are and go back to it and don't deviate from it unless they absolutely have to are effective. And that's what Lamon Brewster does. He knows that if he keeps throwing that double left hook against almost all heavyweights, they're ultimately going to fall. And when he gets in a fight, Bill Slayton has him conditioned to try that, and until they stop it, keep throwing it. Kind of like the Utah Jazz, who showed that today. They keep running their offense until you stop it.
What a day they had today.
Wow.
And look at Brewster just teeing off on Lane as he backs him up here in round 2.
I'll grant you that Garing Lane is kind of a journeyman. He is a journeyman. I'll grant you that most heavyweights have beaten him, the good ones. But even so, what Lamon Brewster's doing right here is very effective and shows you his skill as a fighter.
Right hand to the stomach by Brewster.
One thing that Brewster's doing better than in other fights I've seen him is he's bringing his hands back and getting them up higher on defense than he did previously. So that's a plus for him.
Right hand over the top from Brewster.
Bang, bang, bang. Let's go. Bang, bang, bang. There, those hands, Luke.
Good left hand by Brewster again.
I love watching him do that. I'm going to tell you something. Most boxers will not stay with a weapon like that. Now, you have to be careful about being countered when you throw that left so much. And you can see we haven't seen much of the Brewster right hand, but still, left hand alone keeps him in fights. For Garing Lane, when he's on the inside, he's going to have to work a lot harder.
Come on, bang, bang, man. You got those hands loose. Let's go.
He's got Brewster pinned against those ropes, but really not getting much done.
Push him off. Push him off.
There's that double left hook again from Brewster.
Keep the hands loose, guys. Looking good.
And another workmanlike round 2 for Lamon Brewster. Celebrate his 25th birthday on June the 5th. Round 2 nearly in the books. All Brewster to this point.
Low. You see, he is open for a counter right hand, and that time Garing Lane was able to get it in. So when Brewster throws all those double left hooks, Bob, the reason to throw a double left hook is you counteract the overhand right over your left hook. He didn't throw the second left hook that time. That's why he got hit.
And we begin round number 3. Good job by director Rob Biner and producer John Faratzis to illustrate Al's point. Take a look at boxing as far as Lane is concerned. He has 191 professional rounds in 33 bouts. And Brewster has 36 rounds in 16 bouts. Take a look at the numbers through 2 rounds.
Brewster landing at a terrific rate, and I would be willing to bet that at least half of those punches they landed were body shots. He is really ripping the body. Lane is smothering some of the punches of Brewster when he gets in there, but he's not really making anything happen offensively on the inside. That counter right that we saw at the end was his one good moment so far in this bout. He needs to be much more aggressive, does Lane.
This bout is scheduled for 10 rounds. These are heavyweights. Is Brewster slowing a little bit?
He's certainly picking his spots a little more carefully. We'll have to see if that. Now, I saw him against John Caillou. Nice right. There's the counter right by Garing Lane. He's starting to find a home for that. I saw him against John Kaiser about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, and he did slow later in the fight, Lamon Brewster.
Brewster trying to let that left hook go, and there is one to the body of Lane. Got a double look at Willie Galt.
You know, I know he's fast, but he ran from one shot to the other. That's how fast he is.
He was part of the 1980 United States Olympic team that did not go to Moscow. part of the boycott.
And more importantly, for those of us from Chicago, a member of the 1985 Chicago Bear team that went on to become Super Bowl champions.
Relative ease.
Wow, look at Brewster go down to the body.
You know, he played with a punky QB, and now he has a punky Brewster.
Oh, very good, Bob. Now here's Lane working downstairs a little bit. While Brewster has done so much work to the body, Lane hasn't done much there. Garing Lane knows to throw that counter right because he's thrown it, just needs to throw it more often.
We come to the end of round 3. Garing Lane in the purple getting a bit more assertive against Lamon Brewster.
Is committed to body work, and there is a good example with that left hook downstairs. Not just one left hook, 3 or 4 lefts and rights to the body of Lane.
Good left hand by Brewster to start round number 4. Bob Hoppe along with Al Bernstein. We welcome you back to Boise. Lamon Brewster in the black, fighting out of Los Angeles against Garing Lane, the 34-year-old from Hillcrest, Maryland. Brewster undefeated at 16-0 with 15 knockouts. Lane has fought infrequently over the last 2.5 years, has not recorded a win since September of 1995. We take a look at the power punches so far in the bout.
And you see the big edge for Brewster, but you see that Garing Lane landing half the power punches, and that's because when he does throw that right hand over the top, he can get it there often against Brewster. That's the big chink probably in Brewster's armor, because look how often he throws those hooks to the body. You can get an overhand right in.
Al's scorecard through 3 rounds, not a big shot.
Brewster winning all 3 rounds. I don't see how you could give Lane any of those rounds.
I get a sense, though, that Lane is a bit braver because he's been initiating some more of the contact, so to speak.
More aggressive in going after Brewster. And Brewster in the fight that I saw against Kaiser was stunned later in the fight. There's Willie Gault again.
To mention that he was a great track man, made the 1980 boycott U.S. Olympic team. Wound up in the Olympics in 1988 on the United States bobsled team and just missed out on a medal, came in 4th. Retired from the NFL in 1994. Very personable young man.
Delightful guy, and as is Brewster and of course Bill Slayton. So as a group, they're really great guys to be around.
So if you're Brewster now and you're Brewster's corner, what do you do to get him going?
I think you work on things, and look what he's doing now. The one punch that Brewster probably doesn't use enough of, Bob, is his jab. He's got a very heavy jab, and he needs that punch because he's not a big right-handed puncher. The left is the deal with him, but you have to have a variety of punches. Joe Frazier became not only heavyweight champion, but one of the great fighters of all time, primarily by using his left hand with a jab and those great double left hooks like Brewster has. He never had a great right. But to be a great fighter, Brewster is going to have to make sure he uses that jab.
A good shot by Lane. Caught Brewster coming in.
There's the right hand. Lane kind of switching to lefty there.
Come to the end of round 4. Brewster picking it up. Another hook to the body. Back to Boise after this timeout on the deuce. 4-year-old Lamon Brewster, undefeated at 16-0 with 15 knockouts, begins round number 5 against 34-year-old Garing Lane. Lane 16-15-2 with 8 knockouts. And this bout has been controlled by Brewster. We take a look at numbers from round 4 alone.
And as you see, Brewster landing at a great clip, 57%. But an interesting part of that is 12 of those punches were jabs. He landed 12 of 21 jabs in that round. The best round he's had using his jabs, because in the fight overall, he's only landed 30% of his jabs. So Brewster picking up the pace with that punch.
You know, the last round started with Garing Lane ripping off a very good double jab, and then he just vacated that philosophy. It seems like when Lane uses his jab, good things happen.
Absolutely.
Well, Brewster has 9 first-round knockouts. 15 of his bouts have ended in knockouts. He's only fought past the 5th round once, and that was November 20th in California, an 8-round decision against John Kaiser.
And in that fight, Kaiser came on in some of the later rounds, had his moments against Brewster, until Brewster, he had him hurt later, but there were moments in the later rounds where Lamon looked like he was slowing down a bit.
And the only time he's been into the 5th round other than that bout was the bout we had here on the Deuce in Mississippi, January of this year, his 5th round knockout of Pico Botomaungo. Sort of a nondescript round 5 to this point.
I want to mention a rule they have here in Idaho and commend the commission. If you knock a fighter down and you hit him while he's on the mat, this is the only state I know of that has this rule, immediately the round stops and the guy that committed the foul doesn't get credit for the knockdown, and the round is a 10-8 round for the guy that was fouled. So they penalize in this state very strongly a boxer that would hit a guy on the mat. And I think it's a great rule that should be adopted all through boxing.
It really is, because the guy goes down, it means he's hurt.
Absolutely.
You add insult to injury.
Let's go. Come on.
And injury is the key word, because you can hurt a person that way. Lane hanging in there. That's why you see he's been in with so many heavyweights. He is the ultimate trial horse. The last 2 young heavyweights that have tested him, Obed Sullivan and Lance Whitaker, both beat him by a decision. So knocking him out is not an easy task. Mentioned that Jeremy Williams did it earlier, and that Riddick Bowe did it, but those are the only 2 of the real contenders. And amazingly, Buster Mathis knocked him out, and he's not a powerful fighter.
Come to the end of round 5. This signifies the midway point of the bout. Round 6 after this timeout. The Bank of America Center in the capital of the state of Idaho, Boise, Idaho. They're mostly here, obviously, to see Kenny Keene from Emmett, Idaho, defend his IBA Cruiserweight Championship against Rocky Gannon. That's our main event. Lamon Brewster and Garing Lane begin round number 6 of their heavyweight 10-round tussle. Take a look at some punch numbers through 5 frames.
And you see Brewster landing at a terrific clip. So many of those are body shots. Garing Lane is at 33%, which, while it's not good, is not embarrassing. And he's this close to kind of getting himself into this fight, but has never, Bob, as you pointed out, hasn't stayed aggressive enough to really do that.
There he tried that double jab again. Good right hand, staggers Lane.
Well, did I say Brewster doesn't have power in his right hand? Excuse me, that was a great right, and it hurt Lane. After all those hooks, it's the right that hurt him. Maybe that's a punch Brewster should use more often. Wow, nice combination.
Neither man has been down in this bout. Lane came close there.
But Brewster's slow to follow up on that. And give Lane credit for hanging in there. He was rocked. That was a pretty 4-punch combination, especially for a heavyweight to throw.
Another right hand.
I saw Brewster in an amateur competition that we televised here on ESPN several years ago, in which he did knock a guy out with the right hand, but as a pro, he's relied very much on the left hand.
There's a left to the head.
Look at that jab. Brewster has a very strong jab when he uses it.
Al, is it inexperience of Brewster that he did not capitalize as he rips off another right hand and a good jab?
It could very well be. You know, he's a very steady performer. He doesn't have a lot of highs and lows, but maybe the negative of that is that sometimes he might not jump on a boxer. And we heard Bill Slayton in between rounds saying, now don't be lax, because they sensed he was being lulled into a kind of a false sense of security, and maybe that's part of it.
Very patient. Reminds me of a right-handed Chris Bird a little bit.
Very good, yes, except I think he throws with a little more power than Bird, but
even keel personality.
Yeah, it's a very good analogy. Hey, guess what? Wouldn't that be a nice fight? Chris Bird and Brewster down the road.
come to the end of round 6. Garing Lane back to his corner. Well, coming up in our main event, the IBA Cruiserweight Champion, Kenny Keene, 29 years of age, from Emmett, Idaho, just about 30 minutes outside of Boise. He'll defend his title against Rocky Gannon. And obviously, he enjoys home cooking, Al.
The only
34-1.
Yeah, only the loss to Saul, Montana. And that was a legitimate loss, which Kenny admits. But this is a man who is really revered in this state, and they will fill this building up or come close to it before that fight. Here is where Brewster reeled off a terrific combination. Look at the hand speed, and that last right hand rocked Garing Lane. He did not follow up on it too well, but you see that the good hand speed of Brewster. Something you can't teach, you have to have it.
Seconds out. Seconds out. Let's go, guys.
Garing Lane gets ready for the start of round number 7. Brewster, at least according to our eyes here at ringside, pitching a shutout. Nearly had Lane down in round number 6. And another combination staggers Lane a bit. Had him back on his heels.
All the body punches that Brewster has landed really starting to, I think, take a toll. And, you know, in the jab, an important weapon, Brewster landing it at a good clip. And for Brewster, very important that he use that punch. Brewster landed 73% of his power shots in round 6. So it shows you he's landing at a terrific clip. Here are the jabs, and 47% for Brewster, a nice percentage, and he might want to even use that punch more. When you think of Garing Lane, he's actually fought heavyweights from several eras. Even fought against Trevor Berbick and Ronaldo Snipes from bygone eras as heavyweights. And it is a fight being dominated right now by Lamon Brewster. He's won every round in my mind. There's Lane being more aggressive and working a little bit. Jerry Armstrong doing a nice job of refereeing this bout, not intruding on the action, but still keeping it at an even pace.
Come on, get those hands, let's go. Come on.
You hear the little banter that goes on between the referee and the boxers, trying to keep the flow, the pace of play moving.
Come on, get those hands. Let's go.
Al, do you see enough at this point from Brewster that
Come on, break up. You're
with
out
some
there.
more
Come
work,
on.
he's ready to make that next step up?
Yeah, I think they're going to want to have him face somebody the next time out where he can test his skills a little bit more. He has all the punches. Now, one thing that, while he throws those beautiful double left hooks, in the fights I've seen him in most cases, when he faces a little better guy, those left hooks are not knocking people out, not with one punch anyway. He's got Bada Moungo out there with accumulation of punches, which is okay. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But if he knows that, he's going to have to work hard to get wins. But I'd like to see him in against better fighters at this point. He's got some tools. I love that Chris Bird fight. And I'll tell you what he has that would work against Chris Bird. When you have a good double left hook against a lefty, you're in business, and that's what Brewster has.
Glad I thought. Come to the end of round number 7. It's all Lamon Brewster against Garing Lane from Boise, Idaho. Garing Lane. Neither man has been knocked down in the bout. Brewster had Lane hurt in round number 5. Then the 24-year-old who began boxing at the age of 7 in Indianapolis, now fighting out of Los Angeles, looking for his 17th professional win in 17 tries. He has 15 knockouts. The crowd here in Boise obviously excited about Kenny Keene, getting a bit restless. Good combination from Brewster.
You know, when Brewster uses his right hand, it actually helps set up that left hook and makes him more effective. He doesn't throw the right very often. When he throws it, though, it is a very effective punch. Garing Lane has taken a lot of body punches. He will be sore tomorrow no matter what. Lane is the ultimate in opponents because he does enough to make himself respectable, can take a lot of punishment, and hangs in there for a lot of rounds. So he is the kind of guy that they want as a litmus test for young heavyweights.
And as evidenced by
Come on, guys, keep it up.
the resume that he has as far as the notable boxers he's been in against, and he only has been knocked out 3 times.
Come on,
It
let's go.
means
Let's
that
get
he
the
is
hands.
willing
Okay,
to
break.
stand in there.
Step back,
He beats the other heavyweights, the ones that aren't so great.
Come on, guys,
Goes
let's
off
go.
and gets himself several wins,
That's
and then
beautiful all
faces
night
another contender.
Get him loose. Get that. Get those hands loose inside there. Nice work. Come on, get him loose.
Lane is
Come on,
sort
bang,
of an
bang, bang. Let's
infrequent
go.
flyer. The fact that he has been
Tied. You're tied. Let's go. You're tied.
inactive
Let's go. Box. Come on, get the hands loose
over the
inside.
last couple of years.
There's Lane working downstairs to the body. He's committed himself from time to time down there, but I have seen very few boxers where he's committed a body work as Brewster has been in this bout.
Let's go. 1 step back. Box. Up. Tied. Okay. 1 step back. 1 step back. 1 step back. Box.
Final half minute of round 8.
Brewster headed toward a round he has never seen, the 9th round of a bout, but he is very much in control of this one.
And Lane has never recorded a knockout past the 5th round. That could spell distance here. 2 more to go as we head to the end of the 8th round. Kenny Keene takes center stage against Rocky Gannon. Lamon Brewster and Garing Lane begin round 9 of their 10-round heavyweight bout, dominated by the 24-year-old Brewster. Take a look at the punches in the 8th round.
Brewster landing 32 punches. 21 of those were power shots. He landed 21 of 28 power shots in that round, so that is an excellent percentage.
Just as we went away to commercial at the end of round 8, you saw Lane's willingness to continue to mix it up, despite the fact that he's taken a lot of shots in this bout.
You got him free, baby. Let's go. You can punch in there. You can punch.
He is a game fellow, believe me, and when he gets his act together against a lot of the other fighters, can beat them, just not against the top promoters.
Off the head.
A quick congratulations. You know that we would not be able to come to you without the different cable companies that spread us across America. The Service Electric Cable TV Company in Mahoney City, Pennsylvania, the oldest cable TV company in America. They started out when it was called the Community Antenna Television business. They are 50 years old this year, and we give them congratulations for that. They carry our signal to you.
Come on. Let's go. Come on, bang on.
Maybe someday we'll celebrate our 50th anniversary of ESPN boxing. You never know.
Why not?
I'll be about 83, you know.
We have a busy year for you here on The Deuce and ESPN. In fact, next Friday night, we're in Monroe, Michigan. Bronco McCart in action. Next Sunday, a week from tomorrow, we're at the Palace at Auburn Hills. 3 live telecasts in the next 9 days.
Those should be great fights. The Norris boys, Orland is facing Adolfo Washington in the undercard of McCart, and as you said, Terry Norris on Sunday. That should be a great weekend of boxing.
1 minute to go in round 9.
And you are correct in saying that what's ahead for us here will rock this building, because Kenny Keene and Rocky Gannon, the only thing that can mar that fight at all is a cut, and they're both prone to it, but barring that, it's going to be a wild affair. And this place is filling up. People have been coming in. It's an early start here in Idaho, so it's taken some of the folks a while to get in here.
Yeah, when Keene fought Richard LaMontagne on January the 16th here on ESPN, they had 4,500 fans here at the Bank of America Center.
It's a great facility, by the way, for boxing. It's our 3rd time here. We're here for amateur.
Cut over the left eye of Brewster as the heads collided. Now, since we are past the midway point of the bout, if it is ruled an accidental foul, they would go to the judges' scorecards. So that's good news for Brewster as round 9 goes to the books.
The name's Stein.
Garing Lane.
Okay, the cut on Brewster is high on the forehead. It's good news for him. Take a look at the punches through 9 rounds, all Lamon Brewster.
A huge edge for Brewster, but in round 9, Lane was able to land 17 of his 31 power punches, so he actually picked up the pace a bit, but nevertheless, I still have it shut out for Brewster. He is winning every single round. As you look at a Lamon Brewster in a bout like this, and we've done it during the course of this bout, you look at him and you try to think about where he fits into the scheme of things in the heavyweight division, and I do believe he's a guy that very soon can step up in competition, and at the age of 24 has the time to do it. And we'll find out, as we always do with heavyweights, when they step up a notch or two, just what they have. One thing I like about him is I think he's a fairly active heavyweight. Throws a fair amount of punches, throws combinations, something you don't always see in heavyweights.
Yeah, one boxer for those who watch the series regularly over the last year and a half or so that has appeared to have made that jump, Michael Grant, the guy we had on quite a bit, and we saw him progress over the last year and a half or so, and he's sort of moving up to that next level.
That's a very good example, Bob, and his improvement was very rapid. We saw him in a couple of bouts where it didn't look like he was going to move that quickly, but he did. And heavyweights sometimes will just zip right into the picture. And Grant, by the way, will be fighting on May 30th in another match against Obed Sullivan.
One minute to go in the 10th and final round.
Break, you're tied, let's go. Step back, box. A little bit longer, guys. Watch the back of the head. Break, you're tied, let's go. Come on, stand by. Look great, that's a great fight.
Right hand from Brewster.
Bang, 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 that's off the head, baby. Off the head, bang. Tied, you're tied, let's go. Tied.
Referee Jerry Armstrong separating the boxers. Both men showing the wear and tear of a 10-round bout.
A very workmanlike effort by Brewster. And he got the job done. Couldn't knock Lane out, but many others have not been able to knock him out either. It's been a very consistent effort by Brewster.
And there's the bell, and they acknowledge each other. Good fight, says Brewster, and a good effort by Brewster and Garing Lane. Still to come, our main event tonight, the IBA Cruiserweight.
Look at these numbers. Not only did Brewster land 58% of his punches, he landed 67% of the power punches he threw. So you can see a very good effort by Brewster.
It is time for the decision. Here's Tom Triber.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards, and we have a unanimous decision. Both judges, George Lazaris and Jack Woods, are in agreement, scoring the bout exactly the same, 99-91. And Judge Mark Snow scores the bout 100-91, all in favor of your winner, the man from Bad Company, Relentless, Lamon Brewster.
So not a shock there as Willie Galt enjoys it. Lamon Brewster scores a unanimous decision over Garing Lane. Al, he's ready to take that next step, you believe?
He really is, because as you see this young man, he has the tools.